All right, guys, welcome back for a part three of Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. I wanted to show you guys about updating your console and updating your console. You're updating your console version. Your client version, and you're also updating your any updates, security patches, or roll up hot fixes that are added to the Microsoft Update server from the to the console, um, to our console. So you make sure that we're, keeping our versions up to date, and we're running through the regular testing before we update anything, and making sure that we're ready to go and we have our prerequisites in check. Um, in my last video, I kind of talked about. I just want to discuss this first. We talked about group policy management in our MECM. I do not have that installed actually. As you can see, it's not installed. I would have to add the role and feature in order for that to be installed. So we're looking at the local group policy management, and at the time my DC server wasn't available. So hopefully we know when we use the server manager. I did write that in the notes for everyone that followed and caught on. So we uh we got that just in case you have any questions. And again, you're more than welcome to ask me questions in my WhatsApp channel. Please add yourself to the WhatsApp channel. The links are there. It's a private group. It's only for this purpose and educational purposes. So any educational purposes on the video, just tell me your first name, your last name, who you are, what location you're joining us from, and what video you watched, and if you have done the assignments, or if you've done, you take in your snapshots in Point, and you put them in a Word document or PDF document. Great, send it over to me. Let me know that you've done it. Hard work pays off, right? I'm there to help you get ready for your exams and help you prepare for your job or for that specific project that your company's working on. So again, I'm more than welcome to help you guys out on that end. I'm a professional trainer. Uh, I worked for a lot of companies in the past, and I've worked on many projects, and I'm well respected when it comes to that. I'm qualified to do that job. That job that I'm doing, right? So, when I'm there to train you guys, I'm also there to guide you guys. I'm not there to get your job or help you with your job, but I'm there to guide you towards the path that you guys want to choose, right? So there's a lot of software, or there's a big demand and need for you know Microsoft engineers, or certifications in Azure, MECM or SCCM, Intune, Azure AD, um, Azure, ADUC, ADDS, EUC, as a end user compute, you know, technician, or a IT technician, or a professional IT and systems analyst. So when you're just as a systems analyst, you need to know how to do that. VMware, there's a huge demand, and there's a high price for that, and especially in that specific field. So you know I do provide courses, right? I still recommend you know go take those exams. I'm there to help you prepare for those exams, and get you focused on getting that one job that you need, right? If you haven't finished college or university, I recommend you do that as well too. I recommend you also uh, learn how to use the Microsoft Learn um, section, And if it shows you, hopefully it shows you here, the Microsoft Learn, right? I've used this. There's different pathways that you can discover those pathways and use that training and explore the career paths. So you can, browse all the training, right? And then make sure you sign in and then browse whatever, training you want, right? So you want courses, you can click on all the courses and follow all the courses, right? So for example, Azure Fundamentals, get started with self-directed, right? If you need that extra help, I do provide courses on Azure as well too, right? So, this right here is suitable in preparation for that. So you can go ahead and start that and learn how to do the practice tests if you'd like, right? So you can, look up the AZ, let's see, AZ 900, right? And then within here, um, you can take the practice and prepare for the exam and take the practice test, right? So that'll give you 45 minutes to complete the assessment. And then you can go ahead and schedule the exam through Pearson VUE or through CertiPoint. Make sure you choose your country. So for example, USD would be 99 USD. If you were part of China, it'd be 50 USD. Just make sure that you're choosing your country because that's important as well too, especially when it comes time to setting up your accounts. And I think we spoke about that before as well too. So again, when we're looking at Canada, enter. Again, these prices are in USD. They're based on the country or region in which the exam is proctored, right? So just make note that you are preparing for that. These exams are offered in multiple languages. So again, if you're English, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Spanish, German, French, Indonesian, Arabic, Chinese traditional, Italian, Portuguese, Russian, etc., you're more than welcome to ask for that. It's very accommodating. You can take the exam after 24 hours. So again, make sure that you're taking those exams if you are. Now, I know I kind of discussed a little bit about MECM and Intune, and I think well with the MECM, there's not really much about the MECM, but if we were to browse that, I think it's part of the MS 102, right? Course MS or MD. And I think this is more of Intune endpoint manager. There you go. So this is the full course for anyone who's willing to take the endpoint administration course. Again, they've changed a lot since last bin, right? So if you guys are willing to go with that, please follow those paths. I've already done this. So again, you can go ahead and get started with and keep going with those paths. Explore the different modules that are there. Start the different modules, take the summary knowledge checks, summaries. For example, here's an introduction. This talks about the enterprise desktop on how it's been evolved, right? And follow through the different units, right? Each unit will give you XP points. So, take time, take your time, take 2 hours a day, like I said, just to kind of review those if you'd like. I don't think they have anything on MECM, but again, it's always good to have it. A lot of companies who do have Intune are also on premises as well too, and they do have the SCCM, sorry, the MECM environments, right? But anybody who is moving on from a different software and trying to use the Intune environment, then this is the way to go. I also have a video on how to create an Intune subscription. Please feel free to follow that. And if you have any questions on that, or if you need anything, just let me know. Okay. So that was just a quick introduction. So again, I want to talk about the group policy management issue that we had in our last video. I want to make sure that we make note of that as well too. So if you go down to GP, group policy management, right? It was a role that was added within my. It was a role that was added It's a role that can be added, right? So if we add the role, that's a role or base feature role that's selected from a server or server pool. In this case, it's installed with our um, group policy Active Directory domain services, right? So once that's installed, I should be able to um, install that as well too. So this looks like it's also installed. It's also known as a feature within here. So if I were to go back here and hopefully it lets me, so let's take a look and see if there's any features, if it's allowable in this one and I'm allowed to install it. So if I go to next, let's see if yeah, there you go. So I'm able to now install it in here and I have a copy of that just in case. So that's what we're going to do here is install that group policy management. And that was just a quick little issue that I had in the last video, but I was able to, kind of show you guys how to do that. And at that point, once you restart the machine, you should be able to now access it. Um, it is and requires, again, it requires, these are snap-ins that we're able to, and I remember last we were not able to see that. So if I were to open up my command prompt, so to open up our server manager, as you can see, I'm not able to click on it. Yeah, I want you guys to use server manager, right? And these are some things that we can try. Um, so we're gonna talk about using. And then the short is a Windows key plus R. Right? Uh, take that out here. Okay. And that's that. We're also gonna know how to, and that's all one word. Um, and we're also gonna be using um, server manager to install group policy management. Uh, and we're going to use the MMC tool to add GP management. I'll show you how to do that as well too. And this is as a feature. Normally, this is installed in the domain controller, but again, it's totally up to you. You can add that, but again, it's up to your management and how you want to architect it. I normally would use this within, like I said, within my DC. At the time, I didn't have the DC there, so I'm now, I mean, I'm able to, open up my mmec.exe, which is my management console, and I wasn't able to play around, and you could see there was a lot of um, restrictions and things. And I want to show you how to manage the when working around those restrictions because it does help a lot, especially in this specific instance, right? So cancel out of there. So here's my group policy management, and I was talking about item level processing, right? So I'm opening up the one of the domain policies, right? And I'm editing this. So if I were to edit this, right? This was where um, we were able to play around with the different notifications and whatnot. And right, so here's some right, settings, Windows components, right? And again, we talked about that and how those are created in 1 second. Sorry, guys, give me one sec. Sorry, guys, give me one sec. So when we spoke about item level targeting, um, we'll talk about the tool to add, so the MMC uh, tool, which is a fantastic tool to use. Show you guys how to use that as well too. Um, uh, all right. Um, I'll go back to this, but I just want to explain this a little bit more, just so that we have a better understanding of how this works. We are going to be using the MMC tool, and I think I explained to you guys how to use that. I want to talk about item uh, level targeting. Targeting. Well, I want to talk about item level targeting, right, and what that is. So, what? Okay, so what that is. So, item level targeting. Um, lets us define how group policy settings are applied to active active directory active directory users and computers, right? This is done by setting conditions. We call them conditions, right? So um, we'll set those conditions, right, that are applied to the users and computers, right? So you perform so we can perform form the the process um, by selecting um, they're called conditional logic. There you go, conditional logic statements, and those statements are, if you're familiar with those, and, or, and not. These are the best way. Um, these are the best way when when we're configuring each um, group policy. So again, we're using those statements, and that's what item level targeting is, right? So you kind of have to um, you know scope out the individual preference items, so that when we apply only to selected users, right, then we can or sorry, users or computers, right? So that's what that item level targeting is. And in order to do so, um, I, I wanted to show you guys last time. I think I showed you a little bit, but I wanted to show you guys where to go. So when we open up the management console, right? So using the MMC, let's see, there's two different ways. So I'm now able to add the management, right? Add And I can also add this one and add that group policy. Then I can also add, different objects, right? So this will allow me to edit objects that are linked to sites, domains, or OUs, right? So this one here is just allows across sites, domains, and organizational units, right? So that's going to be what our policy management is. So again, I can now, crack this open, and then this will kind of read my, you'll notice that I'll read my domains, my sites, right? So for example, to target an exist, so basically what we would need to do is is open up the group policy management console, the GPMC, and then select a group policy, for example, my firewall policy, right? And then go to um and then I'm now able to edit that. So once I'm able to edit that, under the computer configuration, or there's a preference folder in both the user and the computer. So if I crack that open, right, you'll notice that and I expand the preferences, right? You'll see the Windows settings and the control panel settings under both the user and, right? So the user and that. Um, so once I go to, so basically, if I expand the preferences folder, then browse to the preference extensions, right? I'm able to see the different Windows settings and control panel settings, right? And then within here, I'm able to, create users, right? Local users and groups, for example, right? And this is where I would right click, right? And I would create a local user or a local group, right? So this is my service account. So I can create that, and I can create it to update, right? Replace, update, and delete, and then give it a full name, and then uh, set the properties. That way, it's done correctly, and then I can you know add this group policy to an existing GPO. So that's what item level targeting is. We can also double click on the node preference extension, right? Right click, and then we can right click on the preference item and then click the properties of that, right? So if we were to click the properties of whatever the policy is, so we could double click the node for preference extension, right? And then right click on the preference item, right? And then click properties, for example, right? It would be the properties of it. So if there was something in there, so for example, I'd have to create a user, right? Let's create something. Um, so I can create, so I'd have to create first a local user. So I can just create a test user for now that updates. So test, right? Or part of the domain, right? So that's just the test user. My test user is going to be something that I'm going to create, right? So he's going to be created, and it's just going to be test user, right? That's the full name. And I'm going to give it the description, and user doesn't need to. Account never expires, and that's it. And I'm just going to apply. Once that's in, and then hit OK. Once that's done, I'm now able to right click and go to the properties, and then in the common tab, I can select item level targeting, and then click targeting, right? We could do this for printers. You can do this for folders, devices, even printers, power options, network options, et cetera, et cetera. And again, when to change the value of the target item to its opposite, is probably it's the um, is not uh, collection. Sorry, is not um, in terms of what we're going to be calling it, like the statement. It's called that logical statement, like I mentioned before. Sorry about that. So that's what's going to happen there. Okay, and then we can create the specific item. We can create I don't know, user, right? And then the item option is not or is, right? And then that's it, right? And then is, and then the user must be test. So we know that the user must be tested, and then hit OK, and then apply, and then OK, right? So that's now updated. Again, it's updated. It's there. It's ready to go. We can add these, to specific groups if we'd like, et cetera, and go from there. So we can configure multiple target items. Again, I don't want to get too much into it, but again, we can configure target collections, right? So we can apply them to logical expressions. We can, add them to collections. We can, configure multiple items on a specific item option, right? And give it that and or logical operation. But again, it's something that I'm not going to really talk about, but I wanted to mention that since I've already mentioned that in my last video. Okay, so giving you the two options, how to install it. So again, this should now be installed, hopefully, right? And is it telling me to reboot? No, it's not telling me to reboot. So if I open up, if I just refresh, and this will refresh all the servers. Hopefully. Another issue I found with this MECM, I think this was because of an old some old configuration profiles and conditional access policies that I've had in my past. So I kind of had to I think it disabled some of these buttons here, as you can see. So in order to open up the start menu, I would press the start key, right? But it doesn't, looks like it doesn't work. So I'm using a command called shell startup, right? So I'm going to put that in the notes. Shell startup is a great option for you guys to use. I'm going to, right, shell startup command, and I'm going to, um, this opens File Explorer. If start menu or run command are not accessible, right? So make note of that. That's an important command for you guys to learn, right? And then this one as well too. I'll give you some more instructions on item level targeting if you haven't, if you still don't understand, I'll give you some notes on that as well too. I want you guys to take a look at that. Here's another one I want you to take a look at. Um, right, so that's that. And I also want to talk about reviewing um, updates and servicing status node, right? In monitoring and administration mode. Options in monitoring and administration nodes. Okay. And then I also want to show you, I want to talk about the um, status options, status objects, right? And I also want to show you guys, I want to talk about, I'm just going to highlight this. So I also want to talk about, I want to talk about SCP again. And I also want to talk about, um, and why it's optional. And then I also want to talk about, uh, and I want to talk about, show, okay, so what happens if you um, are not able to uh, open the MECM console or um, SQL SSMS app, right? So our SQL Server Management Studio, and I'll show you how to resolve that, and then some other things. So I want to talk about what we did already, because that's important as well too. There were a lot of things that we did already. Um, all right. So we talked about a lot of things we reviewed. Um, we reviewed a lot. Um, and again, that's what we've already done a lot about the last two videos, right? We also talked about updates and service updates and servicing within, monitoring node and our administration mode, right? We also talked about SCP, right? We talked about how that role was crucial when it came down um, to that. We also talked about um, features, features and extensions. We talked about that too. So within the update and servicing, we talked about features and extensions, features and console extensions, right? So we were able to do that. And again, if you don't know, if you want to, there is part two video. I want you guys to watch that before you watch this one, so you guys kind of get a better understanding of how that works. We also talked about the DMP downloader log, right? Again, we explained to you guys how that works. We also talked about the service connection points, yeah, the different logs. I think we explained what that was, and then we talked about the box files for incoming a little bit more. So there was a lot that we kind of discussed. And again, I want you guys to watch the video a little bit more and kind of, show me, you know, learn a little bit. And we also were able to um, cloud attach using the cloud attach. So we were able to, you know, create a device collection. Right? So we created a device collection, um, and we called the device collection pre-production. And I think we reviewed and this since it was already installed, right? So I want you guys to, kind of understand how that works. Pre-production, right? Collection, that's what we called it. And then we and I think I used the direct rule, using the direct rule method. Yeah. And we called it pre-production collection. Okay. Um, so right? And schedule too. We also we gave it a schedule. We provided a custom schedule, right? So we also did that as well too. Um, for test environments, right? And I explained both ways and how it works. Um, and then and then uh, and then we also talked about um, updating. Then we also talked about updating. We also talked about upgrading without validating, right? And using the cloud attached storage. So sort of like our diagram where we were able to set up the Azure cloud service, right? We set up the Azure cloud service. So we we set up the uh, Azure cloud um, service and client update options um, and connected to cloud attach, right? But again, with cloud attach, you need, remember, you must have, again, you must have a plan one license. You must have an Intune plan one subscription. And I want you guys to get that ready if you haven't done so. So that's important. Um, once I did that, I connected to that. I was able to connect to that, and we talked about the different servers and safe systems roles. I think we talked about as well too. We talked about that site and servers. We talked about site adding a site system server and site system role. So a server and site system role, right? And again, site system installation accounts. Talked about site system installation accounts, right? So understand that. And that was in our last video. I didn't, and then this is where the item level, I was talking about that as well too in GP management and trying to use GP management to show you that, where we ran into a little bit of a hiccup there. But at that point, we were able to, talk about the service point as a CP, right? We talked about that as well too. Um, and where we left off with the hotfix rollups, discovery. We talked about discovery methods, um, you know, and getting ready for that upgrade, right? So I think that's it for now. But again, I do want to talk about again reviewing these update service options and monitoring and that's what we're going to do. But I also want to talk about this first because this is what we're going to see, and we're going to see this, and I'm going to cut this and I want to add this here because this is something you guys are going to see what happens when we try to open it. So we're going to open up our console here, and I'm going to close that. Close that. I'm going to close the I'm seeing console. Okay. I'm going to close the Microsoft configuration management.exe, right? So that's that. I'm going to take the properties of that. I'm going to close that for you. Cancel, right click here. And I'm going to end the task and then that should close it. Okay, so that's good. So as you can see, it's gone from the task management. It's no longer in the processes. except for these three. And if you look at SMS2 as well, if I try to connect, right, to my database engine, and I click connect, I'll get an error, and you'll see the error come through. Right, can be closed in Task Manager, right? So just remember that. It's an option for you guys if you guys are stuck, especially in my situation, I was stuck. So this is a process. That's the process that can be closed. So make note of that. And our SQL, I think our SQL2 as well. You'll see the error here. And the reason why, and let me open up my console again. So the reason why this is happening is because prior to this, I rebooted my machine, and my domain user had an expired password. So now that affects the service accounts and how the service accounts are added and what the service accounts, how we're managing those service accounts. So in order to change those, not on the local system, but we need to change anything that has a logon as a cadmin, right? So you'll note that the SQL server and the SQL agent are the only two. And again, the SQL agent uh, obviously executes the jobs and alerts and whatever automation or admin tasks that it needs uh, for that SQL server. As the SQL server and this QL server, that just provides any storage, like for controlled access of data, transactions that happen between any processes that happen. So what I want to do is I want to right click here, and I want to go to properties, right? And I know I changed the password, and in order to find out if I changed the password or not, I'm going to go do a control um, R, and I'm going to do command prompt, and I'm going to run a command called net user, and I'm going to type in the net user command, right? The net user, who's the net user, and click on domain. As you can see, my password was last set on the 11th. That's now 2 days ago. And these are all the group memberships accounts. And again, this is important to note because as you can see, it was already expired, right? And I last logged on and it gives me the last changeable. Now, this is important, especially when you're trying to troubleshoot this, because I did set the last password on the 11th. And because the group policies allow changing passwords once, the password must be changed at least once a day. So because it was already changed, I'm not going to change it. And just to kind of show you the past last right there. So that's important to note. So we know that that is our last pass, right? And I'm going to put that in my notes. Um, and we used command prompt to um, research when we changed our password. And this is common in troubleshooting. You guys have to understand that when you troubleshoot, you got to troubleshoot quick, right? And you gotta think there's other ways of doing this as well too, right? But again, like stuff like this, it's over above and beyond, right? So with years of experience comes experience, right? So hopefully by you learning this stuff, you'll get to understand that and use that in your interviews and in your processes, especially when you're practicing for these exams, or you're going in for these, you're practicing for this job interview, or you're practicing for a project, or you're getting ready for a project, or you're just troubleshooting with one of your colleagues, right? So knowing this stuff kind of helps you out as well too. And I want you guys to, take note of that. Going to that, and based on that command, and again, your name is going to be different. So this is going to be your user, your domain user, right? Right. And then domain, right? So just make note of that. And again, based on our last video, in order for us, we need to configure, and that's the only way that, and as you can see, troubleshooting this, you need to go above and beyond. So even if I were to open up the console, for example, I'll get an error, and you'll see the error where I'm not able to connect to the site, and this is the error that you're going to see, and and I want to post this picture here. And when you see this, it's because it's the first thing I would look at was, okay, I just troubleshooted. And when I'm looking at my services are all off. Why are my services all off? So even if I turn my services on, it still didn't work. So uh, those are the SQL server agents. Now um, we have our SMS agents, right? So our SMS agents, our executive agents, our agent hosts, these are all important on our local system in order for the console to work. So they all have a job to do, right? Except for site backup because we're not backing it up. So I don't really care. This is all done manually. And when you do set up your backup times, you could set up your site backups. It'll automatically uh, run manually once it's done, right? So you can stop, add, and run these services. But as you can see, the reason why we're getting in there is because our databases, right? And um, we need our database, right? So, and as you can see, these are the two. And I did change the password on the 11th, so I'm going to go ahead and right click on it, hit properties, and I'm going to go to log on, and then I'm going to go to password, and I'm going to put the new password that I gave it. I'm going to do the same thing for here, right? And I'm going to hit apply. Okay. I'm going to hit apply, and then I'm going to hit OK. So again, we're not really, there is no other dependencies, right? Except for these dependencies here and a remote procedure calls, right? Or that one, it's nothing to do with that. I know that because out of experience, you can do health checks. You can do, services is the first thing you want to run. You want to make sure your SMS services are running first, right? And they're all running. And, your other SQL agent services are running as well too, right? So, your server browser, your reporting services, those all need to be run. And on the, and if it, and because these two are connected to our service accounts, so these service accounts would be needed, and I would be the one that would be logged in. Like, sir, am I currently logged in user with who am I? So who is the currently logged in user would be SC admin, right? So I need to ensure that that's corrected, right? So, and then I can go ahead and uh, restart it. And then do the same thing for this. I'm going to stop it. So right here and right here. So these are the two that I know that that's what the issue was. And I'm now able to, again, I'm going to close this, just refresh it if I want to, but I'm going to put this in my notes. And these are some troubleshooting steps that I found that are um, really good when you're taking charge of this kind of stuff. And these are some errors that I found. And again, um, see this was not um, resolving. It just took too long. Um, and you'll see the error now. Like, it's only the administration that was there, and there's nothing else I can do, right? So that's a problem. Like, it's just not ready, right? So it does take a little bit of time to resolve, right? So I'm going to, and then if I go back here, you'll notice that it says it won't connect to the site, or it's just, like you see here, it won't. There's nothing but the administration page. So that's not good. So that's where we're going to go ahead and reinstall that. I mean, sorry, not reinstall it. We're going to change the login in the services, right? So we're looking at the services, and we're going to be changing the logins there. Okay, so now I'm going to close that, all right? And then I'm going to click OK, minimize that for now. Close that, expand, close that. So I'm going to end the task like I showed you there. And I'm also going to end this task here just to kind of give you guys an insight of how that works. So the service accounts are important. And I'm going to change this service account. I'm going to, well, it's stopped, right? So I'm going to go to properties, and then I'm going to go to log on, and I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to put the new password that I gave it. Right. I'm going to hit apply and then hit OK. And by then, that should, again, I'm going to run that. I'm going to start that service. I'm also going to start the browser service, right, for my reporting. I want that started. And then I'm going to also run the reporting services for browser, sorry. And that provides the SQL server connection to the client computers, right? So that's important as well, too. Everything else is running. I want to go back to my SMSs, and it looks like agent host execute. So I'm going to restart that. All right, so that's good to go. So that's how you resolve that. So and as you can see, so those are the two errors, right? And again, so we talked about that, and as you can see, hopefully by now, once this is done, I should be able to start. This takes a little bit of time. So the performance is doing well. Not really much. SQL agent is running. SQL browsers. So these are all the SQL agents. So that's all running. Right. So these are all the services. Here's the services again. Oh, let me get a better idea of where to. Okay, so that's so I want a better picture. So I'm going to take this for you guys. I'm going to put this in my notes. Okay, so that's a discussion that we talked about. So I should be okay now. I'm going to refresh it about 1,000 times. It looks, except for the site backup, I didn't do it because I didn't want to set it. This is automatic. When you set that up, right? So if I now wait a couple minutes and I try to turn it on, it should now work. And I'm gonna open up my SSMS, my management studio. SQL Server Management Studio. You'll see that it should now pick up the database. There you go. So, and it's giving me a new version. So I'm going to hit OK. I want to, and this is because of the update. So I want to run the new version update, and I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to hit connect with this, and this should work now. Yeah, there you go. So that resolved the issue. And I'm just going to wait till it downloads the files. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and update that console version. So give me 1 second while I put you guys on a quick pause. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. Still recording. All right. I'm still recording. So I should now open up our database. And there we go. There you have it, guys. There's our MECM database. I'm going to go back to our administration and to our services and updates. And that error that you saw at the top is resolved. This is the roll up. This is installed. Great. And I'm going to check. I'm going to hit a refresh. I haven't seen the 2409 yet. Hopefully that comes. Hopefully that comes to me. I'm going to check to see if there's anything in that downloader. Logs, DP download, DP. Okay. So let's see if there's any changes here today. So it looks like the DMP downloader is running perfectly fine. Um, so so let's check in to see if it's recently done. So we're gonna have to wait for that. Has no one to subscription. Registry keys changing. So this is just trying to redirect it. It takes the cab files, so that's okay from our MUS from our download.microsoft.com. It looks like it's gonna do this every 14. Okay, that is all right. So 1435. Oops, 1435. 1435 divided by 60. So it's about 23. That's 24 hours. So in a day, it looks like that's when the setup download interval is every pretty much every 23.91666667 hours, based on the downloader log. Um, okay. So, yeah. So again, we published a hotfix again that affects all the site servers in the CM. Making sure notifications are read and whatnot. So this one looks like it's been okay so far. So that's okay. And I'm gonna continue to refresh and just wait. Um, there's nothing to install here. This is already installed. So in order to move on forward from an in-place upgrade to 2409, we're gonna have to wait for that to feature here. I don't see anything yet, so there's our extension that's working fine. I don't see anything to download here, so we're just gonna have to wait. If I want to check a look at the logs, again, I can show status for that and take a look at whatever errors were there. Um, okay, so it looks okay right now. And site configuration, and sites right quick. Um, the roles are already added, so that's okay. Don't have to add anything else. I don't want to run that yet. Like this is another video, guys. Um, so I'm just gonna end it from here, right? There's not really much. It looks like it looks like there's a connection point that's working from that, and I have my Azure services added. I have my cloud attach added, my co-management settings. There's no gateway that I want to install yet. CMG, that's another video. Um, um, the collection is there. So that's that. Uh, open. I want to show you. So there's uh there's a great command here that I want to show you guys. So if I do a control C and I want to run instead of type like going into start and looking for control panel and typing in control panel, there's something called SMSCFGRC, right? One word. So if I do control, and this is the shortcut for that, which is kind of cool. I want you guys to memorize this because this is a C, right? FGRC, and this will open up our configuration manager window, right? And this will give us all the information that we need, right? Um, in terms of anything that's you know actions or right rerun now. Um, so I'm gonna rerun this. Okay, rerun. And again, there's a lot of errors. Again, this is just I'm not gonna fix them for you guys, but again, these are specific shortcuts that I want you guys to try out. Um, right, we talked about we talked about the control SMS CFGC, right? Using run command, right? And that'll open up um, like I said, it'll open up the control panel configuration properties, right? So we'll take that, and that's what that does. That's a shortcut. You can also put this on your desktop if you want, right? Um, so this is going to go to our pictures here. So as you can see, you know, these are the different servicing status nodes, the monitoring. Again, if you go to monitoring, and this is also, you know, where you take a look at all the service status, right? So this is where the status will be. This is all monitoring stuff. So if you want to look at that, you can right click, you can show the status, and this will give you all the processes that run. So if there's an error here, if the service connection point is online, if the service connection point is offline, this could be stepped, right? So, right, so that's why that you'll see that. And then this one here extracts. So again, the DP downloader log, right? For extracting package payloads, right? So you can do a control F. Sorry, control F. Right? You can type in payload and look for the word payload, right? And it's fine. So there's no issues with that. And then you can look at download redistributables, right? So you can take a look at these. If they are required and not included with this update, they're downloaded. If not, files do not need to be downloaded. This step is skipped. So again, that's how you troubleshoot that prerequisite check. So it looks like the domain functional level is two. And I wanted to show you guys that as well, but I had an issue with the domain server. So if you want to take a look at the how to uh, verify. Uh, so if I wanted to verify the Active Directory functional level check, uh, there's different ways. So again, we can use the MMC. We can use the MMC. We can use PowerShell, or we can use command prompt. So I'm going to show you the MMC way, and I'm going to show you the command prompt way. Okay. So in command prompt, I want you to open up command prompt as admin, and within our Active Directory domain controller. And when we open that up, I want you to type the following: get AD domain, and I want your space pipe uh, FL name, comma, domain mode, right? And I think the spaces matter. So I'm going to remove that space, and I'm going to put domain. I spelled domain right. AD domain. I'm gonna hit enter and get AD domain mode FL name domain mode. So let's do this PowerShell or exe, right? And then I'm gonna add that back in. So I'm gonna copy this. Remove the space. Hopefully that helps out. So that should work now. All right. See what happens. So it looks like the ADT is not a command. So I'm going to try another command, and I'm going to try uh, okay, let's do the MMC first. Let's do the MMC first. So I'm gonna in the MMC, I'm gonna open up the domains and trusts. Um, so I have this installed in my domain control. Oh wait, this is the wrong one. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. I'm in the wrong server. This has to be done. This has to be done in my server. Sorry. So in here, I'm gonna open up the control Windows R. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, guys. All right, I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna hit enter. And I'm gonna do PowerShell. Sorry, guys. Wrong server. Hit enter, and this will open up my PowerShell command. And then I'm gonna run the enter. And that's spelled right. Main domain mode. Um, all right, so let's not do that. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this again. So my apologies, guys. So it looks like the commands are old. So I'm in my DC, which is right. I'm gonna open up the server manager. So this is how we're gonna do it. This is the way I normally would do it. And then I would go to tools, right? And within my tools, I'm gonna select Active Directory users and computers, right? And this is the way I would normally do it. I want to show you multiple ways, so but it's okay. So I'm gonna open up this, right? So here's my domain, right? I'm gonna right click on my root domain, right? And then I'm gonna click properties. And within properties, if I go to the general tab, I should see the domain functional level and the service functional level. So that's how you want to find out whether or not that, and that kind of will help you answer any questions that you may have, right? So within RAD, that's one way, right? That's one way. And if I go here, and that's the error that you're gonna see. Uh, post that picture for you guys. So to the and so this is to check, right? Completed with warnings, right? So it's just to check to see whether or not the functional level is 2000 or 3 or later. It's not 2000 or 3 or later, it's 2006. So I'm going to avoid that error. So that's how you would check to see that, and that kind of voids the warning sign. So I want you guys to make ignore that, right? That's to verify that. Okay. And then there's other ways too. Like I'm not like we're gonna try the PowerShell way. I want to see if we can try the PowerShell way. So right now I'm in PowerShell, and this needs to be done in um my my domain controller. So and it has to be with an RSAT already installed. So it must be installed with RSAT. So if this doesn't have RSAT, then it won't work, obviously. So that's why I was getting those errors. So if I open up my CMD, right, as admin, right, and again, it has to have our um, RSAT tools installed, right? And you go to tools and RSAT's installed, right? So these are all the RSAT tools, right? And we can go to start and we can go to administrative tools, and these are all the RSAT tools. Um, so I'm going to type in the following. I'm going to go PowerShell because this has to be done in PowerShell. .exe, enter. And I'm going to run the following command. I'm going to run get ad domain, right? Identity, right? And then my domain. So my domain is, that's my domain, properties. This is my domain, copy, cancel, paste, right? And then space pipe, and then select dash object, space domain mode. That's all one word. And that should automatically pick up the information that I need. So that'll tell me my domain mode. Then I'm also looking for the forest now. So if I'm looking for the forest, I'm going to copy that. And then what I'm going to do is change domain mode to forest mode. And then I'm going to change AD forest from AD domain. So this is AD forest. Okay, and then I'm going to hit enter. And there you have it. There's our AD forest, and this is the commands that we're going to be using to set the attribute values. Again, we this functional level is just a set of attribute values that help applications determine whether or not the domain determine the domain's functional level. So that's how you would do that. And again, we can set those commands if we want. It's totally up to you. We don't need to right now, but that's how that's done. Um, okay. All right. So as you can see, um, so that's good. Um, so I'm going to take a picture of this. And I want you guys to do the same thing, your snapshots, any pictures that I take, I want you guys to put it in a Word document and send it over to me. I want you to, uh, show me if you're running into any issues, give me a message or message me back. That way I know that you guys are doing that. And again, these are specific ways that I want you guys to kind of uh, troubleshoot. Right. So if you guys are able to troubleshoot, hard work pays off, right? So, um, making note of that is definitely important. There's also the MMC way. I'm not sure if I showed you guys yet, but there is the MMC way. As we remember, MMC, we type in the management console tool, which is our red toolbox, my favorite tool. I'm going to go to file. I'm going to go to add remove snap-ins. And within there, I'm going to click on Active Directory domains and trusts, right? So if it's installed, it should be in here. So it's right here. So there's the domains and trusts. I'm going to add that and then I hit OK, right? Then I'm going to raise the functional level. So I'm going to raise the functional level. So how do we raise the functional level? So I'm going to click on that and that should automatically give us a message, right? See if the message comes. Right. And there you go. There's our message, and it's saying that this domain is operating at the highest possible. And this is the message that we're looking for. Okay. And that's another way we can check to see whether or not its functional level is properly configured, right? And then we'll close that, and then we'll close that, and then we'll save the settings, and then over here we'll close that, and I will post this as a third option to that. So there you have it, guys. This is how I would check the functional levels to make sure that there are functional levels available, and to see whether or not they're there or not, right? Um, I'm not sure if we talked about NTLM. So I'm going to click on that. And this is going to be the last thing we'll talk about. So in order to install an in-place upgrade to that, we're going to have to wait for that to install. Once it comes to once we've installed it, I'm not going to force anything, but once we have it in our server here, then we'll talk about the 2409, right? For in-place upgrade. So I'm just going to do that right now, just for now. So I'm just going to wait for that to happen. Um, just refresh that, refresh that, refresh that. That's okay. Okay. Anyway, this one too. This is installed. I'm going to install that. Okay, so uh, I'm not too worried about that. But again, the service connection point is installed. The services are up. The services are running fine. The logins have been corrected. Um, SQL Server is now available. And I'm now able to log into my configuration manager databases, right? So here's my database, my tables, my views, right? There's all my database objects, right, for these specific tables in the Explorer. So that's working perfectly fine. Um, and I think I think that's it for now. I don't want to I think that's it for now. Uh, we went through some of the issues together. We talked about, so in this session, oh yeah, we'll talk about MTLM, right? So MTLM. So I want you guys to understand that the it's just an authentication protocol, right? So we use it on networks that include systems running on a Windows operating system and on standalones. And and again, MTLM user authentication and different overviews and how those security Kerberos security packages adds greater security to the um, than than NTLM to systems on the network. Although the Microsoft Kerberos is a protocol of choice, NTLM is still supported, right? So NTLM must also be used for login authentication on standalone systems, right? So we can learn about the different uh, like how the credentials are based on data obtained during interactive login process, right? We can also talk about Kerberos, digestive SSP. I think I spoke about a little bit about that within our Hyper-V course. So take a look at that video if you guys have any questions on that. Um, but these credentials are based on data obtained during the interactive login process and consist of a domain name, a username, and a one-way hash of the user's password. So NTLM uses an encrypted challenge or response protocol to authenticate a user without sending the user's password over the wire. Instead, the system requesting authentication must perform a calculation that proves it has access to secured NTLM credentials. And if we read a little further down, presenting an line on non-interactive, the first step provides the user's NTLM credentials. So you'll have the interactive authentication only where a user accesses a client's computer and provides the domain username and password. The client computes a cryptographic hash of the password and discards the actual password, right? So it kind of like mimics, it's like a ghost, right? So the client sends the username to the server in plain text, and the server generates an 8 byte or bit, 8 byte random number called a challenge or nonce and sends it to the client. So that's how that kind of works. And this is a good read. I want you guys to take a look at that as well and post that in the notes. Um, we also there's a checklist for that, and I want you guys to take a look at the checklist. And as you could see, that error that we had before, I just reinstalled it. Once I reinstalled it, I was able to reopen it. If you guys are looking for checklists on updates on 2409, right? So when you're using the current branch, you can install an in-console update for that, which is kind of what we're doing. We're waiting for that to work, and that'll be found in the updates and servicing node, right? No, so when the update is available, the update is ready to install. Before installing that version, we have to follow information and the pre-updated checklist. If the update displays as downloading doesn't change, review the mlog, right? HMAN log, which is what I'm going to show you guys, and then or restart the SMS executive on the site server. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Restart that service, the HMAN, and take a look. So restart SMS executive service, right? I showed you guys where that's located. And I want to open and read the hman.log and DNP downloader, which are all important for troubleshooting this issue, right? So I want you guys to do that. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'm gonna end this from here. Again, questions, please feel free to message me on WhatsApp at my number. Tell me who you are, right? I'm not gonna answer if you don't tell me who you are. I want your first name and last name, what country you're from, what do you like about this video, what are your long-term goals when using the SCCM, MECM, questions about the assignment, any assignments that I've asked you guys to do, and this is a good assignment, right? As an assignment, um, for today, I want you guys to install the 2409 update from in place upgrade, right? Right. And then I want you to review, show, and review the HMAN log and DMP downloader .log files, right? Using CM trace. So I think so for example, if we were to go here, um 1 second. So this PC, my God. Okay. So from my there's a few ways to take a look at. I'm gonna send this to you guys. I want you guys to know how to. Okay, so from the client, so there's a client side and a server side, right? So from the client side, you can download the CM with Truth, right? Which is a low, or you can go to the CACM. So in your Windows, right? And then within your Windows, you have a CCM folder, right? So if you have that CCM folder, that would be there for you, right? And we can also go to C program files, right? And if we go to MECM, right? And within MECM, there's our tools. So within our tools, right? If it's already installed, you'll see the CCM trace.exe file. So that's the location that I want you guys to kind of um, use for that. And I'm going to copy that and put that in the notes. I'm going to copy that and go to here. Excuse me. And this will be the last thing that we talked about, right? So this is where our CCM trace files are. That's important for you guys to understand that. And again, this is my um, assignment I want you guys to take a look at, right? This is important. I want you guys to look at that. So if you guys have a chance, please take a look at the assignments. Right, and these are the clients where you're going to download the CM Trace tool. You can also download it if you want, but again, or you can go into the CD DVD. So if I had the CD DVD, let's go to downloads. Should have it here. So if I open up the configuration application here, right, to browse, I could be able to, I could extract it. If I extract it here, this is going to go into my downloads folder, which is right here. So if I go here, and I go to SMS setup, and I go to tools, and it's within our tool. So that's how you would check into the so you'd go into the CD, you would unzip the CD or extract the CD into any location, right? And then once you have that extracted, that'll create a folder, and then that'll create your tools, right? So I'm gonna put it as admin here. All right, so that would be your name, whoever's name that would be. So that would be the location for the CD. So that's another location. Okay, so you would extract that, and then that would be in your downloads folder, and then that would open up the folder. Once I open up the folder, I go to cd retail.ln, and then SMS setup and tools. Okay, so that's that. This is the connection tool for that. Okay, so I think that's it for now, guys. Again, I want you guys to try this stuff on your own. I'll put this over here for number 3. Oh, I'm going to go to here. If I go here, I should be able to post it now. So obviously yours will be whatever, a domain admin, whatever you want to call it, but in my case it would be that. Um, so it's going to create a folder, right? And this is in the downloads folder. So right within here, this is the actual location that I want you guys to kind of, and you'll see that's where you'll see within here is the CM trace tool. CM trace tool. Tools directory. Okay. All right. Again, thank you very much, guys. Please, questions, remember, add snapshots, email me, share your OneNote sheets with me. You can even, add me, uh, send me a link. And again, I want to thank you guys. Uh, Thank you guys very much. Um, this stuff here I'll add for you guys, right? Or you guys can take a snapshot here. Give you guys a couple seconds to do that. Take a look at those different force functions. So this is the actual bold those for you guys. This is the domain mode, right? And again, it must be done with a computer, so it has to be or domain controller, right? Like within your domain controller too, within your domain controller, right? Usually, right? So, and then you can also do it through um, you know, you could do it through here, or you could do it through here. There's multiple ways, or you can do it through MMC tool, right? Or Active Directory domains and trusts. It's totally up to you. Um, so, so again, that's how you would do that. I want to thank you guys. I hope this was very informative. I went over the allotted time. I want to make sure I get everything in there. I want to thank you guys for joining me these last 3 sessions and discussions on that. So again, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to message me. Hit that like and subscribe button, guys. With you guys watching this and learning, I want your feedback. I want you guys to come in there and help wherever needed. Uh, you know, if there's anything that you want to learn, please let me know. We could talk about creating a video, or if you guys are looking for a full class, I do offer full classes, right? And you will get a certificate at the end. So um, I am a academic trainer. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm also an IT professional and independent owner. I've been doing this for a long time. So I want to thank you guys again for your time and patience, and have yourself a great week. Okay, guys, take care. Bye.